Hey guys, Lawton here with Verified Investing, and welcome to another Market Movers video. I'm going to talk a little bit about what stocks moved the most this week and what I'm looking at into the future of some of these stocks. And you'll see a trend with these stocks. But first off, let's start by talking about the S&P. So S&P, I'm on the daily chart, as you can see here, and we started the week off on a rough note, right? The S&P was down about nearly 1%, about 0.8% on Monday. But since those lows, we have had a really nice recovery up 4.5% off of a couple bit of news, right? There is the news that Iran was potentially drafting something that would open up the straits, right? There was talks of potential ceasefire, and then Iran rebutted and said, we don't want a ceasefire, and it's just all messy, and it's really interesting, quite interesting to see, where the stocks opened up on that day, and then where they eventually ended up. So we see on Monday, stocks opened up higher, almost 1%, but sold off almost relentlessly. Right into Tuesday, we had a nice push up, opened up 1% higher, and continued to push. Right, Wednesday rather, not a whole lot of action, and yesterday, Thursday, since markets are closed, we opened up lower, about 1.3%, but markets were able to catch a nice bid here and ended up pushing up almost 1.8% from that opening bell. But as the stocks continue to move, the S&P continues to move, the Qs look kind of similar. And I'm looking at this on a weekly time frame, right? Nice reversal candle here on the QQQ, up about 4% actually from this time last week. If we go to the S&P, we'll see something similar. You'd be like, wow, that's incredible, about 3.5% up from this time last week. But the question is, what moved the markets? What stocks were in play? And I have 4 great stocks I'm going to talk to you about this evening. So first off, let's take a look at Tesla. This is one of the few stocks on the weekly chart, right, that is actually negative, right? Negative compared to its time here last week, despite the Qs being 4% higher, despite the S&P up 3.5% higher. So what happened? Well, Tesla, just like the markets, opened lower on Monday, or opened up higher on Monday, sold off, had a nice push Tuesday, even higher push on Wednesday, and then yesterday, Thursday, absolutely cratered off of negative news that their deliveries in China were less than expected, less than desirable, right? So stock opened up about 4.5% lower, had a nice bounce, right? Had a 1.6% bounce, but eventually sold back off about 3% intraday from those highs. So what I'm looking at on the Tesla chart is a couple of downsloping trend lines, right? We have all these nice downsloping trend lines, and if we do get a break above these, I do anticipate some more upside. Something to note: we do have earnings later on this month on Tesla, and so in about 3 weeks or so, we're going to have earnings on Tesla. So everybody's going to be watching that, but immediately looking for support levels. The first level of support that I'm watching is this key 350 level. It's a really nice psychological level. That's why it was a gap fill from here. That's why you see so much price action around that. 350 will be a key level for Tesla to hold. Should it continue lower, I would be interested potentially. There's a nice gap fill here around 338 that could provide a bounce, and a couple of levels a little lower, namely the 300/297, 298 level. But these are the next 3 levels of support that I'm watching on Tesla. If you can continue this sell, right? Next up, let's talk a little about some crazy bullish stocks. So LITE did the exact opposite of Tesla, whereas the Qs pushed up and Tesla went down. LITE kept pushing and actually closed at basically new all-time highs, right? So same thing as Tesla and the rest of the markets opened up higher and sold off intraday. Sold off intraday, nice push up, an additional push up, and then initially opened lower and had an insane 16.7% move up yesterday intraday, crushing all-time highs, crushing its previous all-time highs around 808. So now at 826, does it favor a pullback? Absolutely. But the question is, where is that going to come from, right? And immediately you're trying to draw trend lines in, and you realize, wow, these trend lines aren't working. 817 was absolutely crushed and pushed up actually over 1% higher. So then you got to kind of scroll back a little bit and look at price action and realize there's not that much price action here in the past. But what we can do is use this previous all-time high just from literally January of 2025. Looks like a totally different stock, and then draw a trend line through its previous all-time highs here in the beginning of March, the 2nd of March. Extend that out, and then you get a nice potentially upsloping trend lines that could favor a pullback. So on Monday, it would be around 844. So 844, this nice trend line could be the first level of resistance on LITE, about 2% higher. But we know that LITE can move significantly. So where's the next level of resistance? Well, there's also the 850, nice psychological whole number. And then, of course, the number that we're all looking at is the even $900 level, only about 9% away. And just to kind of hammer down the insanity, right, of the stock, since October, the stock has moved up over 440% to the upside. So it does favor a pullback, but the question is going to be from where? Let's say we get bullish news in Iran, bullish news in the markets. Well, you could easily see this thing going to $900. Ultimately, I think this is going sub $500, but the question is when, right? Does it go to 900 first, or does it go to 500 first? Along the same lines, right, with these type of stocks, CIEN has also been on a run since its lows and earnings in the 3rd of September. The stock has had a great push up about 380%. So not quite the 440% that LITE had, but CIEN has been around for a long time. And taking a look at this chart, you might think to yourself, well, Lawton, it just made new all-time highs. In fact, it closed at all-time highs. But this is why, guys, this is why we always zoom out and take a look at the big picture. So if we continue to scroll out, what's this? This is an old stock, right? Since 1997, a couple of years after I was born. The stock was actually significantly higher before, right? And it's still down 57% from those nice true all-time highs, right? Did it make recent highs? Absolutely 100%. But so where's the next levels of resistance on the stock? We're going to have to take a time machine back to the 2001 area and take a look. There's a nice high here around 466 and another one here around 496, right? Also, that nice $500 psychological level comes into play. So if CIEN continues to push up, these are the next two levels of resistance, but great week for CIEN pushing up over 12%. And the last one I want to talk about is MRVL. Marvell has had a great push up since its Liberation Day lows, up 127% from its lows of this year in the 5th of February, up over 51%. Wow, absolutely incredible. The next question is, where could Marvell find resistance? This thing had a great push up this week and is up around 13% for the week. So for me, immediately my eyes snap to nice gap fill here, 111, nice pivot high, and then double top there around 127, right? Those are the three immediate levels of resistance. It's about 3.4%, 13, and then 18 to 19% higher. should it get up into these levels. That would be interesting for a potential short. But this is definitely one of the semiconductors absolutely catapulting the semis forward. With that being said, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching the Market Movers Verified Investing. My name again is Lawton Ho at Verified Investing. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, guys.